Joining me now to discuss this are veteran Commander Abiodun Durowaye, REMENAF National Coordinator, and Veteran Awwal Abdullahi Aliyu, DG Initiative for Military Veterans and Family Support Foundation. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. Commander, I'll start with you. Now, what exactly are the military veterans demanding from the Federal Ministry of Defense that has prompted the protest, and why has the pay increase approval by President Bola Tinubu in November 2025 not yet been implemented?
Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon, Nigerians. Well, the reason of the protest is not known to some of us, because to start with, there was a committee set up by the Chief of Defense Staff to discuss all of the agitations. And before then, there was a one-day retreat still organized by the Chief of Defense Staff. And all of the issues regarding pay increase, which was announced by the president, were also, part of the schedule for the committee to discuss and submit a report to the Chief of Defense Staff. Mm-hmm. The job has been concluded. We are yet to turn in our report to the CDS. And when the president made the pronouncement for pension increase, we, of course, were waiting for the implementation, which is supposed to take effect from 1st of September. And then first and foremost, those who are serving will first be paid before those of us who are retired. Right. And so there seemed to be, a mix-up somewhere along the line. And some members of the veterans community were hell-bent at protesting, even when the commencement date for the implementation has not been reached yet. And we pleaded with some of them to please give us some time, because we were discussing with those in authority to ensure that there's no lapses on their part in implementation, so that the moment those who are serving are getting theirs, we are also being paid at the same time. Mm-hmm. But of course, as you could see today, they went on protest, and what did they come back with? The same thing we told them is exactly what they were told. Right. So you see, this is an embarrassment to some of us, because if they had listened to us, then there wouldn't have been this protest. It wouldn't have been necessary for them to even come out on a protest. Right. So, but then we need to, appreciate the CDS, the Minister of Defense, and the Minister of State for Defense, as well as the President, who gave approval. We want to plead with our members to be patient. Whatever it is, government will always consider us because of the sacrifices we have rendered to this country. So we want to plead with them to ensure that we keep the peace and then wait until the implementation. Right. Now, DG, this is where I'd like for you to come in. When we look at the government, what is the government's position on the veterans' claims that they were excluded from the new salary adjustment scheduled to kick off or take effect in September?
Thank you very much. The government has been proactive. The government has been veterans-friendly. I can tell you this without missing words, that it has never been this better. Under the Bola Tinubu administration, the veterans have had better. And under this administration alone, we've had 2 salaries increment. And with the recent one, and even with the last one that was done, 80%, 50%, and 30%, the president still said another one is still coming in. And like Veteran Commander Durowaye rightly put, the Chief of Defense Staff organized a one-day retreat that called all the veteran association leadership in Nigeria and all stakeholders for a discussion to come and discuss what are the problems of veterans, and then to find a way of finding a lasting solution to the problems. We made the presentations, everybody made presentation. The person that led this very protest was part of that one-day retreat. He was given opportunity to present whatever case that he thinks he has claims or counter-claims. He made there, and it was taken. Later, the Chief of Defense Staff again set up another committee with both the defense headquarters and all that matters as far as the issue of veterans, welfare, salary, housing, transportation, education, skills acquisition, and any other thing that you can think of. The Chief of Defense Staff organized this body to come and discuss the outcome of the one-day retreat with a view of bringing a lasting solution.
Right.
And as we are bringing that solution, I made a promise and vow that I will be taking exactly what you brought to me without changing anything to the President and Commander-in-Chief and plead with him for implementation. And he said he's going to be doing that along with the Minister of Defense, General Christopher Gwabin Musa, and the Minister of State for Defense, Dr. Bello Mohamed Matawali.
Right.
That has been done. The committee has done justice to every complaint or cries that veterans have. It has had a holistic approach of every problem that any veteran will ever have in Nigeria, and the report is there waiting for submission to the Chief of Defense Staff. So now, if you look at this, you would see that there is just no reason for anybody to come out in the name of protesting. Okay, before now, the same person leading this protest earlier said that there was a pronouncement by a senator in the Senate that 250,000 was approved for members of the armed forces, and that the money has been released to the authority, and that the authority refused to release the money or pay the money to veterans, that there's 8 months outstanding salary. When the CDS set up this committee, the committee went to National Assembly, met the chairman of the Defense Committee, National Assembly chairman on defense, discussed with him, and the man said there is no such issue. It is just a motion that was set at the House, and it did not pass that motion. The committee still went to Salaries, Wages and Income Commission to meet with the new DG, who also happens to be a retired veteran, a retired Major General Bindawa. He also said there was no such communication between the presidency or National Assembly to his commission. So if that is the case, automatically that thing is not in existence. But that person knew very well that it's not existing. So he now changed it from misleading veterans to saying that there's 250 already on ground, there's another 8-month arrears already on ground,
Right.
and for that reason they're coming out.
Apologies if you will just cut me because we are pressed by time. Now, if we look at the timelines, you see that, of course, in November of 2025, an increase was supposed to have taken effect. And then, of course, here we are now in September of 2026, which also just kind of communicates that in August, nothing took place as well. Commander, I'd like to hear from you. Have officials of the Ministry of Defense met with the protesters? And what commitment, if any, have been made?
Well, like my colleague had just spoken now, we investigated and there was nothing like 250,000, which they claim the president made pronouncement about in November 2025. Because we had a cause to, also ask the leader of the protesters that, do you have any document or proof that such, communication was sent from the villa to the appropriate authority? But they couldn't provide any one of them. So the issue of 250,000 is not existing at all. Like he had said, the committee, which both of us are part of, investigated. We went to the National Assembly, and it was proved wrong. We went to the Salary, Income and Wages, it was proved wrong. And so why are we trying to jump the gun? The committee is yet to submit their report. Why not wait a while so that, this kind of embarrassment will not be visited on the rest of the veterans? Because quite honestly, tell me what they have achieved now. Today that they went on protest, tell me what they have achieved. It's still the same story or song that we've been singing, that please wait a while. Of course, the Ministry of Defense, the representative of the Ministry of Defense told them that it is being worked on, and they should have patience, which is what we have been preaching all this while.
So it's interesting when we say a while, because it's a tentative thing. I think we perhaps need to give context to what a while looks like before people decide to go to the streets. But DG, finally from you, what are the veterans saying that they will do if their demands are not addressed? And what could be the wider implications for retired military personnel going forward?
Believe me, we've never had it better than we are having it right now. We have committed leadership at the Ministry of Defense. We have committed leadership at the Defense Headquarters. The Minister of Defense is a retired general, the immediate past Chief of Defense Staff, a veteran. He has set up another committee, even before the committee of the Chief of Defense Staff, to also look into the problems of veterans with a view of finding a lasting solution to it. The Minister of State Defense set up a committee of, he called it 5-man committee, to interface, to communicate between veterans and the authority. Where veterans has problem, the veterans take their problem to the authority through the 5-man committee, and then they get response from the ministry back to the 5-man committee. The Chief of Defense Staff held a one-day retreat, now set up another committee to still look into the problems of veterans, and that committee has worked and come up with a holistic approach, like I said, with presenting to the Chief of Defense Staff, and then the board head of the Ministry of Defense and the Defense Headquarters will be presenting to President. So veterans never had it better than we are having it under the present administration. I don't think it is right for anybody right now to begin to go out to protest. In fact, we are already seeing it as a politically motivated move. We are suspecting that the leader of that team is being bought up by opposition party in order to disorganize the good things, the friendly relationship between veterans and the Ministry of Defense, veterans and the Defense Headquarters, and of course veterans and the presidency with Mr. President, who has been so nice, who has been veteran friendly. We are seriously suspecting that he has been bought over by opposition party and is being sent to do this by the opposition party in order to discredit the ministry and the leadership at the Ministry of Defense, the Defense Headquarters, and at the same time, the president. So seriously, this is the way we are looking at it. This is the way we feel. Otherwise, there is no justification for this protest. Now you went for protest. In any case, there are over 100,000 veterans in Nigeria, and you said you are going for protest, and you have a handful, not up to 25 veterans are there to do the protest. In fact, he has brought disgrace. He has to the veterans community, to the veterans family. We hope to say that the veterans, naturally all veteran associations, 19 veteran associations disassociated themselves from this protest because we saw no need for any protest since our problems have been is being tackled. We are the ones discussing the problems. I am part of the committee. Veteran Commander Durowaye is part of the committee. Other senior veteran leaders were part of the committee. He is also part of the one-day retreat, like I said earlier.
All right,
so
DG.
So we believe it is politically motivated.
Right.
Somebody is sponsoring something somewhere, and then he is using innocent veterans, because the veterans are innocent. The veterans only after their
I'm going to have to cut you there, DG.
Which we are working on, but we think he's being sponsored somewhere by somebody, and we believe it is the opposition trying to destroy what the government is trying to
Thank you so much,
for
DG.
veterans to better our lives and well-being.
I'm going to have to cut you there. Thank you so much. Very interesting angle, and hopefully we'll continue to monitor this situation and see how it plays out in the end. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us and giving us your insights this afternoon.